So, welcome to this first panel discussion. What an interesting topic, Marketplace Mastery 2025, winning customers where they shop. And as we know, marketplaces are no longer just transactional platforms, they are ecosystems of discovery, they're ecosystems of decision making and cultural conversation. And in 2025, I have the digital experts, the D2C experts here. The digital shelf is crowded, of course, and algos are the way to understand them. And this conversation will delve into the strategies to use algo in a way where your digital stands out, your digital shelf stands out. And let's hear from these experts on their individual stories, how they deploy algos to make the most of those digital shelves. And let me start first with Ritesh, with you. Ritesh, of course, you run a global snacking powerhouse, and marketplaces are becoming an important, place as far as customer reach out is concerned. How do you look at data, by the way? How do you deploy that data insights to make the most of those digital shelves?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I get into the details, the company platters could be very confusing. We make a biscuit called McVitie's, if you guys have had it, and we make something called Godiva chocolate. So I run that company in India. So with that, so firstly, let me start by saying that everybody talks data, and of course we all use data. But for me, there are reams and reams of data right now. The most important thing is to organize the data to really use it well. So that's my first point of view for everyone. Just data is garbage. Organized data is what really drives insights. What has really changed, thanks to say e-commerce, is the real-time data, and we're using it for two things. One, of course, is what product to sell where. Earlier, it would take months and years to really get the trends, but today, within say 8 weeks, you really know what trends and where they are working, which actually really helps you on your back end also. So your entire supply chain. Let's say I launch a particular biscuit pan India, and I realize that in South and West, a particular variant is doing well. I can very quickly take a call of A, promoting them, and B, changing the entire backend for these products. So at this point of time, we are using, of course, to target the right consumer set, but also really making our backends very, very lean.
Great, thanks for this FMCG perspective. Now let's move on to a more challenging category, which Dipanshu runs. Dipanshu, fresh food definitely is one of the toughest categories because of the shelf life and other factors. How do you look at the marketplace, first of all? We were having a conversation and you said that they really don't understand this category. So what is that angst, if I may use a word, against them?
There is no angst. In fact, we were born out of Grover's Blinkit experience. So we just to introduce ourselves, we are a fresh meat brand. Started in 2015 with the premise to really solve the new age customer problem, who has issues with availability of the product and accessibility of the product and standardization. So that was the fundamental of the journey and how we incepted ourselves. And it was during the conversation with Alvinder from Blinkit we were born. So we were born from marketplace experience as a new age D2C online customer. But what we started, experiencing as in the initial days, that they were early days. I'm talking 2016, 17, that time, where a lot of array of different brands were mushrooming and coming, but in the fresh space there hasn't been much action, and whatever has been till date you would see is more in a very controlled environment. So they're mostly full stack experiences. You would not see a lot of brands, the fresh brands available on the markets place. So that's where it's a slightly sensitive category which we have observed and learned that you have to control the environment, the temperature, throughout the value chain and supply chain. If those controls and parameters are not in check, then the product quality goes for a toss. And because we are a brand and we take it a little more seriously, both the quality and the leakages which happens when we work with the marketplace, uh, both from quality standpoint and also from a point of view of either revenue loss or profitability loss, where there's a lot of dumping happens. So there are inherent challenges in the category which are not very pro quick commerce, I would say. So and also the customer behavior is that they do a planned cooking in their home, like a dinner or a afternoon thing. So they generally have a habit of either ordering in the morning or in the evening. These are the two busiest of our things. So you don't need to in between do a 10-15 minute delivery. Of course, it works for all the other categories. According to me, it is not for the perishables as a customer
We
also.
do see that happening, I think, right? I mean,
Sorry?
we do see that happening in the quick commerce space.
Yeah, but you don't get the entire product portfolio. So you may get chicken, that's about it. You don't get fish, you don't get mutton. The basket is empty. It is still not filled with what the customer is looking for. It's a filler category for them. It is not a main play category, which is, getting a lot of revenues. Even with Blinkit, fresh frozen, overall fresh frozen is hardly 2-3%. So why will they invest? If the customer behavior and the category behavior is not conducive to what quick commerce is standing upon.
Great. Ayushi, I want to bring you in this point. Anveshan has created a strong brand identity around authenticity and farmer-led produce. How do marketplaces help or sometimes challenge that storytelling, according to you?
Sure. So, Anveshan is essentially a food brand specializing into A2 ghee and cold pressed cooking oils. And we started out in 2018. You know, very different from what Sir mentioned. So, we were born out of Amazon. So, we started from Amazon and then shifting to our own website and then quickly moving to other marketplaces like Big Basket and then Quickcom and almost everything where whatever you can think of in the online space. So I feel that for a young brand who people who don't have any experience with any kind of offline market or anything, starting offline feels a bit more democratic because you have the platform, you have everything in hand, and try to if you know how to list your products, how to position them well in the market, or how to you understand numbers, you can run ads, you can figure out your P&L, then it becomes easier for any new brand to start out in the online market. And yes, I think very fortunately now like we are looking to expand our offline footprint also, and sitting with such experienced people is definitely going to help me a lot. So yes, I think from a data point of view, what Sir also said, we get lots and lots of data from online. Whatever you can think of, all that data will be at your disposal. But there are two things. One is looking at the right data. Like for example, there were many instances when we were earlier looking at data, but the data itself was incorrect. So we were making wrong decisions, right? So your data should be right. And secondly, you will have loads of data. So what things to prioritize, or maybe defining those top 3 to 5 metrics, which are the most important thing for that particular division, that becomes important.
Great. So from food to furniture now, a category where the purchase cycle is longer has its own challenges. Raghunandan, how do marketplaces support you in building trust and credibility with buyers? Any use cases that you can share? Can we?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Raghunandan from Saraf Furniture, and we are into solid wood furniture, India's first D2C furniture brand operating since 2009. And I'm humbled by the panelists here, and I think I'm the most newest person to contribute here on this. And it's funny that you would ask me this question out of all, because we are not on any marketplaces at all. That's a conscious decision that we took starting in 2014 when marketplaces started to appear. And so we decided to build a brand, continue on D2C, and make customers say we bought from Saraf Furniture and not we bought from Amazon, since we are the one who's doing all the legwork here. Uh, so as far as but still, how marketplaces still helped us. So when we started back in 2009 online, so it was more of a brand building exercise, educating customers about what's the difference between different kind of furnitures. If it's made of shisham wood, what is the difference? How marketplaces sort of helped us was, to be very honest, they brought this culture with them that it's okay to buy online. And once this settled in with everybody, with every one of the Indian citizens, that it's okay to buy online, you get the right product, you get the right service, and your money is safe. And that helped a brand like us a lot. So in a way, marketplace did help us. At the same time, when you talk about data, so we focused on two kind of data points. One is the trigger, which would make customer buy from us, and second is the post-buy behavior of how to retain the customer. And so we realized the number one trigger, of course, is the price. And number two, which is not number two per se, but it's this equally important trigger, is peer review as far as our category is concerned. And I believe data is, whatever is happening right now is all data. Every breath every customer takes is a data point. Sleeping or awake, somebody is capturing that data and selling you a product, at every second. So everything that we do is the data.
So marketplaces did help in the initial part of it. I don't deny that, and then you have just taken over on your own, right? That's how it is. Right?
That was a conscious decision we took, yes.
So, of course, so let me bring you in, Prateek, for this. Your footprint is a mission-led brand, sustainability-driven perspective. Let's get that. How do you make sure that your mission doesn't get lost in a crowded marketplace and you retain that identity, that ethos that your brand has?
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about my brand because I work for other brands. And I'm going to talk about experiences with other brands, specifically with D2C. As Ritesh rightly mentioned right at the beginning, all data is garbage unless you process it and figure out what data works best for you. There's a brand called Emami. Have you heard of Emami? Emami also has a brand called Healthy and Tasty, which makes food-based products. Mustard oil is their flagship product. They took a conscious decision that they want to create all their content in the regional language. This was taken after doing various forms of various languages, various forms of content in all languages possible. And then they came to a conscious decision that we want to keep our social media pages in Bengali. That was done after analyzing a lot of data. Who buys their shoshto poshto masala, which is used for making fish, and the maximum number of people turned out to be Bengalis from Bengal, from very specific areas. Like Ritesh specifically mentioned while we were sitting inside, that it is not necessary that you have to create a distribution channel across the country. You can localize it, you can hyper-localize it. I'll give you another example. I was very surprised to know that ITC sells milk in East India. I don't even know the name of the brand. I remember somebody from ITC mentioning it. If a big company like ITC decides to specifically sell milk, when they can sell milk all over the country, why are they selling it only in East India? They obviously have understood what works for them. A company like Libas and Malmal, these are brands who are opening stores all over India, while True Browns still continues to sell online. I think they have only 1 or 2 stores. So it is ultimately the brand picks up, as Dipanshu mentioned while we were sitting inside, that it is great. He wants to employ not MBAs. I'm sorry, Ritesh, not MBAs. He wants to employ the person who's selling the meat, his son, to create a distribution channel, to think about businesses. For D2C brands, the most important thing, yes, as Raghu mentioned, your e-commerce companies, your fast comms, everybody has opened multiple channels, even the smallest of the companies. Somebody mentioned a ghee brand from Jabalpur, like while we were discussing it. 20 years back, it was extremely difficult to imagine someone from Jabalpur selling in Bangalore. It was extremely difficult. It has been made possible by new age e-commerce companies. It has been made possible by using amazing platforms of Amazon ads or whatever platforms, Meta ads, Google ads, to take a product to the end user. But at the end of the day, the brand functions and thrives when it really plays to its strengths. And that strength could be anything from supply chain, coming on e-commerce, or creating a small area. India is a huge country. Even a small area would probably have 55 million people at a given point of time ready to buy your product.
I think that what you mentioned about ITC and Imami is a classic case of reading the data right. With Ritesh, you were talking about having the right data in front of you, and then you can do these things. To you, Ritesh, how do you balance marketplace presence with D2C ambitions, or what is the right way to do that?
So I'll expand it a little. I won't limit it to marketplace and D2C, but let me talk a little bit about the omni-channel, all the channels. So firstly, let's understand today D2C and especially the quick com channels are helping new brands scale up very quickly till a certain level. If you go back, India's traditionally been a traditional trade market. We have about 10 million stores, just to let you guys know. What D2C has done is, you come, you get onto some of these quick com platforms or marketplaces and your brand is live. You're selling to the consumer. What's important for the organizations, especially organizations like us, is to understand that while they all sell, they're still different, right? How are you doing your price pack architecture by channels? What sort of consumers are you selling? Just a simple example. I look at modern trade as a channel where I do my shiny new launches, the touch and feel, right? I do my traditional trade, low end pack for consumer to do and do a quick pantry fill. If somebody wants to go and buy one packet, and see, you have to go down pop strata. You're not only selling in the South Delhis and South Bombays of the world, right? Your kirana is important. How do you play that channel right? How do you really utilize the marketplace and D2C in terms of right pack strategy and the right product portfolio? And again, data comes into play. You really know your consumers well if you're in these channels. So for me, Rohel, it's about looking at all the channels today. They're all going to coexist. Of course, the contributions will change, but for organization or companies to look at how they play out, what the consumer is demanding, and the consumers are different. They may use all the channels, but they're still very, very different, right, at times. I will not go to a quick com to buy one single packet of biscuit, but I'll go to my local kirana shop to buy one single pack of biscuit. I'll not drive 5 kilometers to a Reliance to buy, say, one Duracell. I'll probably go and buy big packs there. And I think that's very, very important. And of course, there's a second angle, the profitability by channels need to be seen very, very carefully. So at what price point, what pack sizes, etc. you sell is again very important. So for me, omni-channel, look at all of them, but be careful. They don't behave similarly.
Right. Aishi, how do you decide what to keep exclusive versus what to scale through marketplaces?
Exclusive as in?
As in for your, just on maybe
on
directly, yes.
Got it. Yeah. So I think just adding to Ritesh sir's point, D2C is just a way of building the brand or telling the story of why behind the product or the brand, right? Which becomes difficult on these other online marketplaces. So and of course the second point is about profitability also. If you are selling it on your own website, the profitability is more in your hands, right? And you know the customer better because you have all the touch points and everything, right? So if you are able to, let's say, scale D2C channel using some exclusive products which are not present on the marketplace, it could be, for example, products like the bigger pack sizes, for example, a 5-liter oil or a 15-liter oil, which a quick commerce platform will not sell. So a 1-liter bottle would be only available there. But the bigger pack sizes, or people who want to buy multiple products together, they want to buy combos for 1 month, for 2 months, for 3 months even, right? So those kind of products can drive D2C growth, and then maybe some, if at all required, maybe some ancillary products which can come and go depending upon the season, depending upon the requirement. So, for example, let's say a sweet made in ghee. So, another platform may not launch it super fast and scale it super fast, but being on D2C, you have all the right medium to like launch those smaller products and scale them within a month or two whenever required. And third is, of course, when you're looking at new launches or new categories to experiment with. So if you launch it first on D2C, you experiment with your core consumers, the loyal consumers. You get their feedback and everything. So you test it out and then go to your other channels. So that's how it
becomes
works.
like a lab for you, right?
Right.
Right. Perfect. Raghunandan, this like no, not just like it may not be true for your brand directly, but as as an expert in that category, what's the right balance between owning the consumer journey and scaling via marketplaces?
So I'll talk specifically about our category, furniture. So marketplace, of course, gives you numbers. I mean, there's no two thoughts about it. But there is something which is in our category. So customer would be more inclined to buy smaller value products on marketplace, and would look for specialist brands, for a higher value product. And furniture being a good ticket size product, so that really is that helps. But at the same time, customers are still buying bed on Amazon or Flipkart, and it's a big product and it's a big ticket value product. But what we've noticed is that even there's a price range. They'll buy a bed up to 20,000 on Amazon maybe. Let's say they may go up to 25 in the best case scenario. But a similar kind of product, once you build your brand value, a similar product you can sell for 35,000 on your website. Once you've positioned yourself as a specialist for furniture, so instead of going to Amazon to look for bed, they want to look for a specialist brand who sells this kind of furniture. So if you want to drive product value, the price is one big factor. And so marketplace will surely help in getting the numbers, but in terms of a very handsomely positive unit metrics, I mean, a D2C website helps. Yeah.
Dipanshu, do you see collaboration of sorts happening as we move from here, where marketplaces understand your pain points? Is there a discussion underway? How are they looking at this piece?
No. So I don't think them taking especially perishables to that level, because for a couple of reasons. Number one, it doesn't offer them enough margins. Now they're all looking at profitability and margins more seriously. So I think the interest now is in home furnishings, electronics, and some of the other non-perishable categories, which offer them more margins, because now they have that initial traction cracked, enough numbers are there, volumes are not a problem. So now they want to upsell categories which will give them more bottom line, not the volume part of it. And our category is all about volume and thin margins. So the room to make money is less in perishables, specifically when you are in an affordable pricing strategy, which is what we are. So I don't think them doing anything in our category.
Prateek, how do you navigate, algos, of course, tend to reward short-term sales velocity. How do you navigate this without compromising on the brand building aspect of it?
So again, it comes to the same discussion. See, algorithms will give you, as you mentioned, they are now selling even diamond jewelry on Quickcom because they want margins. So, and they are not selling biscuits and they're not selling fresh fruits as much because the margins are lesser. So if somebody is ordering a pack value of 500 rupees, that does not make sense for most of the e-commerce companies. I mean, it does on a larger volume basis, but on an immediate one. So navigation of algorithms, I think every brand takes it on their own. I think D2C, your own websites, I will disagree with Ayushi. I think she said profitability is the second point. I think profitability should be the first point when it comes to running businesses. That should be the thing, that if I'm getting maximum profit here, this is exactly what I'm going to sell. This is what we suggest to our clients most of the times. However, when it comes to there are a lot of algorithms which are happening, how a consumer is behaving in certain situation. If it rains a lot, what are they going to order? If it is going to be dry, what are they going to order? They have so many things they're analyzing at a given point of time, and then they will deliver you packages that this is how exactly you should sell. उस दिन बहुत बारिश हुई थी, which is 2 days back. You should not sell fresh meat that day, or you should sell biscuits that day. So it completely depends on where you put your trust. I think every D2C brand should look at maybe a couple of platforms where they can put their trust when it comes to e-commerce. They should, or maybe they can experiment with a lot of quick commerce, but then they should come to a conclusion that probably a Zepto works really well for me, or a Swiggy works, because they are also analyzing how their consumers are behaving on an every minute basis. So it completely depends on what the brand is looking at. If they're looking at higher volumes, they should stick to a certain platform. If they're looking at higher profitability, they should stick to a certain platform.
So there's a final set of questions. Ritesh, starting with you, from here on, how do you see live shopping and social commerce changing consumer engagement for FMCG players?
Social engagement. Okay, I think so. Again, I'm going to make it a little more general. You know, and when we were discussing in the morning, we were talking about shelves literally becoming place to advertise, right? And that's what is happening, right, at one go. So one is, how are you really using the quick com platforms, etc., to literally build your brands, not just do trade-offs, discounting, right? You know, what we are doing still is X off, Y off. You know, certain platforms have started things like Swap, versus saying that I'm going to build my brand there, right? That's the first thing. That how do you really utilize these channels to build brand? Second, I think you're having a direct interaction with the right set of consumer. You're not doing carpet bombing for a solitary target, literally. You know what your consumer is. You're targeting there, right? If you And finally, you know, for me, that and the large scale media both will still exist, right? But for me, as I said, and I'm just repeating here, it's identifying your consumer and trying to build your brand there, versus just, you know, using that platform as a discounting channel or swapping it with some other brand. And that's what a lot of companies are not doing. It's a great platform to do that, reach the consumers directly.
Great. Ayushi, for your brand, how do you look at social commerce and influencer-led shopping? Because both are rising. How are you preparing to harness both of these?
I think the medium keeps on changing year on year. The fundamentals will remain the same. So whether you're doing ads or influencer marketing or anything, there are plenty of options. Like if you look at influencer marketing or social commerce, there is always this question of what kind of people do you want to go after. Do you want to do regional marketing, or do you want to do like some kind of chefs or some celebrities or some nutritionists and whatnot, right? So the answer to that will always arrive from what is it that you are wanting to build, what is the kind of consumer that you want to target, and what does the data say behind it. Is it like you want to target certain, let's say, Maharashtra region, so you go after that kind of audience, or you want to go after nutritionist kind of audience, right? So I think it's just a medium, and it may keep on changing. Maybe next year you're going to come and ask some other question around some sort of new kind of marketing, right?
Shiny
Yes.
objects, okay, that keep coming. Dipanshu, what is your 2025 playbook as far as data and insights, and dealing with even the marketplaces in concern?
So, as I said, we don't work with marketplaces. So, data for us is going, to be a very critical lever for growth. Because what we are seeing is, a certain category behavior, which is, consumers consuming chicken, and then certain consumer buying mutton in certain times and fish in certain times. And specifically for the retail framework which we are working upon with the meat shops, there we see a lot of data emphasis going to come up, where the upselling and category contribution and profitability going hand in hand is one area where we are going to utilize data based strategies to pull in new products, adding more products to the basket, and also building more upselling opportunities for the partners who are buying with us. So that's, from a retail B2B point of view, we are exploring data in a different way as compared to the B2C, just the direct to consumer side of it.
Raghunandan, this is a little tricky one because algos sometimes push you to kind of up the price and the speed, of course. But how do you ensure your craftsmanship and value story that doesn't get diluted at the same time?
Okay, once again, I feel your question is more more centered around marketplace algos, and thank you for putting this up to me. Uh, so, like I said, this answer particularly has to do with the kind of industry you are in. So furniture is not an impulse buy. I mean, people spend about we see the cycle of customer before he first starts of thinking of buying a furniture, and then he or she actually makes a decision is 3 weeks. So within that, those 3 weeks, what are your chances of actually acquiring that customer? And that is how much percentage of that 3 weeks you are able to take from the customer in terms of your visibility. So we used to be visible to customer earlier, let's say on a newspaper in the morning, or at their home in the night time and on the TV, or if you're out, then probably on the billboards or somewhere. And then we all realized as a marketeers, I mean, that every time, at every moment of the day, at every part of the day, every customer has a free time. Sometime people used to talk to their colleagues, or maybe tap into their hobbies or not. But now that free time is spent on the phone, and the marketeers captured that screen value to present themselves. So they don't have to now limit themselves to like what time they should show themselves to customer or through what medium, because free time is when you always take out 5 minutes in an hour. Everyone does that. So we tapped into their free time, and so this actually ensured that we are visible more to the customer, and the more you're visible, the more percentage you're able to take of decision making time. You are able to make that sure you acquire that customer.
All right, we are on time. Prateek, finally to you. We are seeing a rise of integrations, quick commerce, live shopping. How is Footprint preparing to ride that wave?
Okay, so hello. Yeah, so I actually happened to see a new form of influencer marketing happening in China just like a couple of days back, where a fashion model or a couple of fashion models demonstrated over 100 clothes in like 3 minutes, and they sold approximately $1 million worth of merchandise while shopping, while the live shopping link was on Instagram. So as we mentioned, as Ayushi mentioned, next year there will be a new shiny object. Very frankly, when it comes to what we suggest to our clients in terms of spends, in digital off digital spends, you have a lot of avenues, but when it comes to digital spends, you have just a few avenues. You will either route back the money back to the US through Meta, Google, etc., uh, or you will spend on influencer marketing, and maybe you will now start spending on e-commerce. Lots of companies are spending on e-commerce ads. So these are the three avenues. It's the innovation in these three categories which results into better sales, or achieving your objectives overall. Sometimes for some brands, like for example, a personalized brand like Anveshan, influencer marketing would work really well when you're trying to introduce a product to the consumers, even for Saraf, for instance. And for established brands like McVitie's, it could be ads on e-commerce platforms, it could be ads everywhere. So it could be even great content on your social media pages, which actually works very well. So uh, when it comes to digital spends, I think the strategy has to be related to what works for you and what does not work for you, uh, and how much you allocate in terms of your budget every single year, and how you manage that budget to get you the maximum returns on it.
Thank you. Our time's up. Thanks for sharing your rich perspectives on cracking the code in your own way. And I hope, for you, Dipanshu, I hope the marketplaces understand, things better from here on. But thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you.